Welcome, it's Raging Reviewers here, and today we have We Happy Few for you guys. We just finished up our playthrough of it, and so now we're gonna run down our scores and let you know what we think of the game. We're gonna start off with mechanics here, and as always, it's a 1 out of 10, and we're gonna take the mean for the total score between mine and Bishop's. And so I gave mechanics a 3, which was kind of a generous score in all honesty, given how poorly this game ran. It's constantly glitching. The main mechanic of stealth or fighting, neither of them really seemed to work very well. As Arthur, there were countless times where we were walking down the city without Joy and nobody cared, or we were walking down the city with Joy and suddenly everyone wanted to kill us. As well as so many times of in the middle of fighting, characters would randomly appear in front of us, characters would get thrown across the screen. There were just so many glitches that made it really hard to play the game. And Bishop, you gave this a 2.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same deal, but like I don't know, the whole it really does feel like once we got to Sally, I was just like, why is this character in the game? It's just she's just worse than Arthur and the other guy. I looked up what the other guy did. He has like one downside. There's a second downside, but it barely even exists. It's like not even really a thing. You wouldn't even notice it. And meanwhile, she has like four downsides, and then she can make drugs, and that's her thing. It's the drugs barely do anything. It just seems like they're like, oh, this would be an interesting character, and then they didn't implement the mechanics very well. And all the stealth is bunk, and the fighting is even worse. And yeah, it just wasn't a very good idea. I feel many of those things it just didn't work out well.
It was they definitely tried to do a lot in this game, and I think that kind of punished them overall because it didn't pan out at all. There were way too
Yeah,
many
you really
meters. I mean, you had
just too
a
much going on.
yeah, you had a health meter on top of food and water and joy and overdosing, and different other drugs you could take that would mess up the game. There was just so much thrown at
Like
you.
half of the drugs, we didn't even know what they did because you don't need them. Like, why are they in the game?
There was no point to them. They were just there to make fluff. So overall mechanics got a 2.5. And let's go ahead and jump into characters then, because we kind of talked about them a little bit. I gave characters a 3 just because I thought Sally was a little bit interesting. Arthur is awful. He's a horrible, unreliable character, and not in a good sense. His character does not stick to any kind of regimen. He's a different person in almost every scene. He doesn't feel like a cohesive character. And I get in this type of game, they want everyone to seem kind of crazy and nutso, but you really need to make your characters coherent and they need to fit whatever line you have for them. And Arthur didn't do that at all. Sally did. She definitely wasn't a likable character. I mean, she slept with Arthur's dad, which is awful on so many levels. But her character felt more stable and more coherent than Arthur's or any of these other random people that we met. And so I gave it a 3 just because I liked Sally a little bit. And Bishop, you gave it a 1.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even really like Sally, I'll be honest. I didn't like either of them. And the third character has like something to do with mental illness, I think. So the I'm gonna you just sit you at a 1 here for me because the potential to fuck that up is so high. And I don't know if they did, but this is where it is. I mean, like if we got there and that character was just like the worst, I don't know. I like this is just where it is. I didn't like either of the ones that I experienced, and I know that the third character has potential to be like just miserable playing as because they probably have a mental illness like whole situation. You just and it probably wouldn't make any sense if you just be like, what's going on, this isn't how this probably works.
The game definitely takes a lot of stances that are dangerous to take, and I don't think they did them very well at all.
Well,
Especially
but here's
with
also the thing: is like I don't know. The third character could be a great example of what that is like, but I don't know, we didn't make it there. But who
yeah.
knows?
Admittedly, we couldn't keep playing when we got to Sally's. It was
It
just
was
so
just,
bad.
it was just too
It
much.
was, and the very fact that it's so sexist. She is this
Well, you know,
completely useless
they
female
probably
character.
listen. They probably like that also has a lot to do with it, but they probably didn't mean it to come off that way, but it does come off that way. I guess maybe just because we noticed some background like little gags as Arthur, it started to come off that way. But yeah,
Fair enough. Well, let's go ahead and jump into story then. I gave the story a 1. You gave it a 2. I gave it a 1 because I don't know what the heck was going on. It's almost impossible to tell what's happening. As you're going through as Arthur, there are so many things that happen that contradict what's already happened. I mean, there was a point where we go to meet Sally, and then she just kind of teleports to the other side of the map in a different town, and now we have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get to her in that town. And I think we spent a solid like 10 episodes before we got back to the town that she had jumped into. It's the only coherent thing in this story is that Arthur wants to kind of see his brother, but he also kind of doesn't care about his brother. So there was no real drive for me to watch this at all.
yeah. There's really not much going on here. I put it at a 2 because even though I don't like Sally, she had something going on. You know, there was something going on there. Arthur was really just you know, he was just like, oh, all of a sudden I feel bad about what I did to my brother, what I consciously did to my brother, while I listened to him scream like for a full 5 minutes my name as I just pretended like I didn't even know him, basically. While he was going off to be tortured or killed or whatever was supposedly going to happen to him. You know, it was like, why do you care now? Why do you all of a sudden care now? You were a sociopath then. Why are you all of a sudden not a sociopath?
Yeah, and there was all of this takes place 30 years after this drastic thing that happens. Supposedly, Germany won the World War II, and after they won that, all the kids from Britain got taken to Germany. And then 30 years later, here we are, and we're playing this game. And it's never, at least in what we played through, it was never explained why people just couldn't have more kids and why everything is at the state that it's at. Everyone acts like they've all been on Joy forever and just ignored everything. But if you go 30 years ignoring all of society, it would already be completely collapsed, not collapsing as it is in this game. So the timeline really doesn't make sense at all in
Yeah,
any retrospect.
the timeline's pretty rough.
Yeah. Well, with that, we'll jump into length. And I gave length a 1 because it's just a giant fetch quest. This game is one huge fetch quest. Like I said earlier, we spent like 10 episodes in one town running back and forth, getting papers, trying to get people to sign papers so that we could get to another town. And none of those quests felt like they were adding to the story. None of them felt like they're adding to the characters. None of them felt like, outside of dealing with the issues with the mechanics, they didn't feel like a real challenge. It was just sort of, this is what you have to do. There was only one kind of interesting puzzle that we did towards the end of Arthur's. And even that didn't really make sense because it kind of made Arthur seem like he was some super genius that he hasn't been for the entire game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hit you with the 3 here, and that's okay. So the 3 is, let's be honest, I don't know. I feel like It was probably as long as it needed to be, at least for Arthur's. Like, I don't know about Sally's or the other guys. It was probably as long as it needed to be. It's just the game, like it just wasn't. If the mechanics and stuff weren't like just the worst, I feel like the length is good. And also, there are people out there, they're psychos, but there are people out there who just see a game and they're like, well, how long is it before they buy it? They want to know the length. That's what they're here for. And if all of them are as long as Arthur's, what can I say? That's probably pretty good for that kind of person. Not for me, but like for that kind of person, it's pretty good. But like I said, if the mechanics weren't just trash, I think the length's pretty decent. But here we are at down at the three because of that.
Yeah, the mechanics definitely kind of put a toll on the entire game as a whole. I think that I can kind of agree with what you're saying. I see 15 to 20 hours in Arthur's story. Sally's is supposed to be shorter. We didn't get through it because it was too unplayable. But even with that, that's if you don't do any side quests. Because I think
Yeah.
we did maybe one or two, but the side quests just aren't interesting. There was maybe one. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
side quest
one of
that's
them
just race.
was yeah, one of them was just catch fast guy. It's
Yeah,
like, well, okay, I guess I'll go make a drug and get faster. Like, what do you?
and that's the only way to catch them too. Is you have to make a drug and dose yourself up so that you can beat this
It's
fast
like,
dude.
so what do I get out of that? Probably, I don't know, like two syringes of some other drug that you'll need for some other side quest a million
Yeah.
years later, maybe.
The only side quest that we ever did, all we got was a frying pan for it, which we got plenty of just walking around the map, so it wasn't even remotely worth the time or effort that we put into that side quest. And the other one that we tried to do, it glitched out. We were supposed to wait for a witch to show up, and nothing ever happened. So either we messed up that, or
Well,
nothing happens in the game.
We did another one as Arthur where we like got this old lady her key or whatever, and then you just give it to her, and they're like, okay, and then you just kill her right there and take the key and then use it to get the thing. It's like, what the hell is this side quest? Why
Yeah,
does it exist? If you just kill her after you complete the side quest, she doesn't really even give you anything, and then you take the key anyways. What's the point?
and
It's
even the item that we got from the chest after we killed the lady took
didn't
the
even keep
key.
it because the game is so trash that it re-rolled everything and we weren't able to get it again. Like it was
It just glitched out and we lost the weapon. So we lost this weapon that was never supposed to break, that was supposed to be really good, because the game decided that we didn't deserve that weapon.
I
But
don't know. Yeah, it was something.
there are issues like that that make this kind of an unredeemable game. And the very
It's
last,
real tough.
yeah, the last thing that we have here is replayable, and I gave it a 2 just because I think some of those side quests might be interesting. Maybe if you played it at a different difficulty, it might be interesting. Maybe once you have like a new game plus, they give you stuff that makes it a little bit easier. That's the only reason that I gave it a 2 instead of a 1, but Bishop also gave it a 1.
Yeah, it's again back to the side quests and stuff. There's not really I don't see it. I just don't see it. They don't really give you anything. The ones we did especially, and even the things that you could get like that, like Golden Club, what's the point really? Like it's a weapon. Yeah, do you want to get into combat? Not really. Are there better weapons by the time you get it? Yeah, and they just don't break anyways. Why do you need an unbreakable Golden Club? It doesn't make sense, most of these things. So why go back and do them? It's
Yeah, we must have used the same weapon for half the game. As soon as we got one of
it never
those
broke.
stun batons, it never broke.
It never broke. It did like a million damage. It stunned them. Like, what's the point of getting this other thing if you can just beat up a cop and take their stun baton and you're like great. Like you get that stun baton in the same place you get that club and you just take it off a couch for free. Like it's not even a trifle to get it. You just get it.
Yeah. So hopefully this made it clear just how awful this game is. It's not worth your money. I bought
I mean,
this.
it looked cool at the start. I wanted to like it, but man,
I
it
we
really.
we tried as much as we could. We got 30 episodes into it, and please go watch our episodes. And if you see something that we were doing wrong, let us know. I would love to see the other side of this. The people that love this game, let us know why you love it. Because I just through our playthrough, I see no reason to love it. So our overall score is a 2 out of 10, and if it's like $1, sure, buy it. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth your money. So thanks for joining us for this episode of Raging Reviewers. I hope that you learned something about it. Please check out our videos of our game
I'm
crew.
raging.
Yeah,
Check them out.
We're mad. This was
We're
bad.
bad.
All right, see you guys next time. Thanks.